Welcome back to DM-Nastics, the gym for dungeon masters to work out their minds. I'm one of your hosts, DM Celeste, aka Sea Witch.
And I'm your other host, DM Neil, aka Jote Maniac. Sunday, Monday, happy days. So today's episode is titled Jump the Shark. It is a term that is used to explain that something has basically gone too far. Oftentimes it is in reference very specifically to a TV show where it has basically gone too far too fast. It is in direct reference to Happy Days when Fonzie was in Hollywood and he quite literally jumped a shark while water skiing. It is very ridiculous, and a show that was already somewhat ridiculous as a character that basically had superpowers because he would just hit things and they would work. So, yeah, we're going to jump the shark because today we're going to be talking about an article entitled Dungeons and Dragons 21 Best Exotic Mounts.
Oh.
We need to start with how weird that is.
Yeah.
Because first and foremost, what a weird number.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
21?
That's super
That's
weird.
a lot.
Don't like it. I didn't like
That's a lot for an article.
I don't like that at all. I don't like it at all. The term exotic, that gets weird. It gets weird fast. Also, after you read the entire list, it remains weird.
Yep.
So Celeste and I are going to choose what we think are actual fun ones to talk about. And that's the whole point of this article.
Yeah. Yeah. We have 21 to pick from, so you're getting the choice meat.
So, Celeste, what do you got?
Okay. So number 20 is Periton, which there are a few interesting things about the Periton. So one, this is a D&D specific creature, like it's Wizards of the Coast IP, so they own this concept of this creature. I'm not entirely sure what the history is of it, or if it like comes from mythology, but probably not since they own it. So the Periton, it's like its whole mythology or like its creature lore in original editions was like, it rips out the heart of like individuals as part of its mating ritual and like presents like the heart. So this is a whole thing. Like once a year, Periatons just start murdering people to like literally rip out their hearts. It's incredible and very weird. And already they're like birds that have cool, they kind of look like skull faces and big horns. And what's also interesting though is these are actually medium-sized creatures, which is something that a lot of people don't think about. So really the only people that can like ride them as mounts are like halflings and, you know, small lineages or like ancestries. So it's always fascinated me, this option. I'm like, that is the little dude, you know, riding around on this bird that like rips out the heart of like its enemies. So it's extremely metal. So good pick. I'm always glad to see the Periton on these kind of lists. Because yeah, a good, you know, chaotic neutral character or an evil character riding around on a Periton. Love it. Here for it.
Yeah, that's what it does specifically note for evil campaigns.
Yeah.
Based on the nature of the creature. Because it's gonna definitely try and kill someone. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It has to. Like, it's part of its, you know, like, this is how I live, you know, like the way birds make nests. So, you know, I rip out hearts. Like, it's very metal.
That's scary. But, yeah, like you said, it could be a lot of fun. And eventually someone's going to ask for something along these lines. That's why it's also good to start thinking through, especially if you start adding any of these monsters to your game.
Yep. Do you have a pick?
So one that I found that like really stood out. And again, this all goes back to, okay, I'm going to ask a question.
Okay.
And I'm going to see if this comes up for you on a regular basis or if it's just me and it's my fault. Typically when you have like a layer of a creature.
Yeah.
Do your players ask for anything specific after they've like cleared the layer?
Oh, you know how they always want the eggs of like a monster so they can raise them for themselves and train them as mounts? Oh, yeah, no, that's a constant. It's constantly. Okay, cool. I think I don't know where all players in the whole world got that idea, but they all do it. So you're not alone.
Yeah, I'm like, part of me wants to just be like, I don't see animal husbandry on your sheet.
Yeah. So are you going to sit on that egg and care for it after murdering their mother? You okay with that?
I don't know how you plan on this working, but one of the things that they could have found while in the Underdark are none other than phase spider eggs.
Phase spiders. Ooh, yeah.
Yeah, if you can land that particular plane, that is a play on words, because you're going to be jumping between the material plane and the ethereal plane. But that is a very, very cool mount if you can get that to work.
Yeah, I wonder though, because I think again, phase spiders are medium size at most, right? So you're talking about being limited specifically to the small, humanoids that can ride this thing. And then also I mean, I'm into this if, like, I don't know, I feel like for my players, I need them to have some kind of magic item, like a magic saddle or something that allows them to phase, right? Like with the spider.
Large.
Oh, they're large. Wow. Okay. Yeah. Then, so, yeah. But like for this, because like, why wouldn't the spider just like when it phases out, what about you sitting on it lets you go with it, right? So if I had a player that was like, this is what I want, this is my dream, I would make sure to incorporate that having to be a story element too. Like you need to get some really special magical gear to make full use of this kind of creature.
Yeah, I would. Yeah, this is unlocking the ability to do this, especially while in combat, especially while in mounted combat, especially at higher levels. I would probably go so far as to make it an attunement slot to be attuned to the magic saddle.
Yeah.
So, but in doing so, then I feel a lot more comfortable to just start lifting some of the limitations off, because I'm taking up an attunement slot for that character. And then because of that, sure, let's talk about some cool stuff that you can do. Yes, phasing in and out of the ethereal plane. Yes, back and forth. All kinds of different things that I would allow. It would be a very open dialogue back and forth with myself and the player at that point, because, taking one of 3 attunement slots is a big deal.
Yeah, for sure. But it totally makes sense, though, attunement, right? Because then I always remind whenever players are like, ooh, attunement. I'm like, but also think of it like this. Because you're attuned to it, nobody can walk up and use it, right? Except you. Like, so it sort of like works. It's a protection in that way, right? It's just like, your phone has security on it. So it's harder for people to just walk up and like see all your private details, right? And be able to use it. So attunement sort of works the same way. Nobody can just hop on your phase spider's saddle, and like ride off with your mount. It's a whole process you need to do to ensure you get this really cool thing. So I'm going to highlight one that it is a basic creature, but it's a special use thing that I really love whenever I see it. And that is sharks. Sharks as mounts. Obviously, of course, there are situations where, a shark won't work, but I am a big fan of always doing some kind of like, underwater arc or something, like even if it's just a little adventure, especially for higher level gameplay, because it introduces, some really cool challenges. And sharks are just so cool looking. And what I really like is the imaginative ways, like when you envision like an underwater society and like what, sharks could be trained to do or use, like thinking about sharks like pulling, like wagons, or like how would a mer person ride a shark, right? When they already have this like so special like gear or harnesses you might design to have these like cool things that not only can get you around really fast, but are great in a fight. They're sort of like, the war horses of the sea, which is just a really, really fun thing to think about. And there are so many different types of sharks, too. That can be such a fun kind of storytelling element as you adapt. Even if you need your great white shark, why not give it, elephant statistics and put it underwater just with a swim speed, right? Or if you have something more like a live, like a hunter shark or something, there's just a lot of different possibilities and really cool visual moments I feel like you can set up with these highly underappreciated mounts.
Yeah, don't you jump the shark.
Don't you don't, yeah. Oh, we had to talk about sharks, too, because of the title there. I did it.
The other thing I think about with sharks is their lifespan, which is going to come up with my next one I want to talk about. But the shark's lifespan can also be very, very long,
Yes.
which gets into some interesting territory as well. If you end up having the ability to communicate with them,
Yeah.
and like the way that they approach things, going back into all the conversations we have about short-lived and long-lived species and how they interact with each other. So yeah, that could be even just a interesting source of information alone of like, wait a minute. Wait, hold on. The thing I'm writing is like 300 years old. Like, why are we not just asking this guy questions?
Yeah, they have dinosaur brains. That's a really fun. You know what? I've had to play a lot of animals because of things like Speak with Animals. Never gotten to roleplay a shark. Not yet.
Missing out.
One day, I'll make it happen.
So, have you ever gotten the chance to roleplay a catablopus?
What? No.
Catablopus.
Oh, Cato.
Wait.
Catablopus.
Catablopus.
Catablopus. Wow, this is some wild art. I remember seeing this from Volo's guide. Yeah.
Catablopus. Oh, there's like 3 different ways to say it.
Oh, no.
Catablopus. Okay. Yeah. Blah, 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 blah. But have you ever had the opportunity to roleplay as a catablopus?
I cannot say no, I certainly am not.
Neither have I, but they've been around since first edition, and they are the loving mashup of a miserable mix of a buffalo, a dinosaur, a warthog, and a hippopotamus that lived in swamps and wastelands. They are a large monstrosity, and they are hideous to kind of okay to 4th edition's default image, truly horrifying.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Yes. This was something in Volo's guide, right? Yeah. I'm remembering this art now being like, what is this? Yeah. Wow.
They possess a scent that reeked of death and famine, not dissimilar to the swamp gas that filled their favorite environment.
Oh boy.
So they also live like 150 to 200 years.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because it does give an interesting feel, like when Lord of the Rings and they have the Oliphant and it's big, it's got more legs, it's got extra tusks. This has that feel where it's something not of our world, but still has touch points that you can somewhat understand.
Yeah.
It also is larger, so is it more of the group's mount rather than necessarily an individual's mount, or can it carry certain things? Is it I guess this is not a thing that we've brought up necessarily. Is it a situational mount that this is the perfect thing to get you through the swamp?
Through a swamp.
And then it's not going to leave the swamp because that's where it lives and wants to continue living. But yeah, it's super interesting. It's really, really weird. It's very likely, despite it being through all 5 editions, your players may not have ever heard of it. So yeah, there you go.
Yeah. I mean, I just like having to deal with the stench thing. I would definitely, how do you do? I don't know. I hope you play like an air genasi or something. You can hold your breath for 8 hours or whatever. Like, yeah, that's an interesting pick for sure. For sure. Oh my gosh. Okay. All right. Yeah. So looking down. Okay. This is just a great one. T-Rex, Tyrannosaurus Rex, because I just have to call it out because I love dinosaurs. I love dinosaurs in all forms. I feel like there should be more dinosaurs all the time in everybody's games, especially mechanical dinosaurs. But anyway, whatever. It's a world of magic. All I would do is make animatronic dinosaurs if I was an artificer or a mechanist. That's what I would do all day, my whole army. So yeah, riding a T-Rex, incredible. I also feel like this is a weirdly good strategy because if you can get on the back of a T-Rex and get there, there's no way it can get you off with its little arms. So it's actually a pretty good like berserker strategy, like hop on the back of this thing and just let it rage. So that's just, waiting for a great opportunity. They're not listed in this article, but I feel like a lot of dinosaurs would make really great mounts. Like And this is something in Eberron that you know is very common. They have, you know, the two-legged, like really fast dinosaurs are frequently used as mounts, you know, of all the varieties that are large enough to ride. You know, ride around your Jurassic Park sized Velociraptor, ride around your like Triceratops. Really cool because they're huge. They're the size of elephants. So like, why not have them, you know, be mounts? Dinosaurs, always going to get my vote as awesome mounts.
Yep.
Then you could do pterodactyls for the air and plesiosaurus for underwater. They're just so versatile.
Yeah, dinosaurs.
Dinosaurs.
Hey, since we're doing this, I've wondered if categorically we could just answer some of these.
Yes.
So some of these are fine. We're going to go construct is my next category.
Okay.
Because one of these answers I think is great.
Yes.
Two of these answers I think are questionable.
Okay.
One answer that is great is the Warforged Charger. It's kind of a mount. It's what it does.
Yeah.
I mean, granted, it looks kind of more like a gorilla, but like on all fours. And it charges because it's a Warforged Charger.
Yeah.
An ogre-sized Warforged variant resembling a gorilla constructed adamantine, stone, and wood.
Well, it's a weird looking thing, but it kind of has like a person face, which is very strange.
Yeah. So
Okay.
this could totally work. It's not intended to be, you know, have a soul.
Yeah.
You know, your world can debate whether they Warforged have them or not, or how they're constructed and all of those things. Now, that said, the one that I think is weird is that later on it says Shield Guardian, which again, technically it's an inanimate construct, but that's just kind of shaped like a guy.
Yeah.
Just a person just hanging out. And so what am I doing? How am I baby Bjorning this? Am I on the shoulders? What am I doing to be mounted?
So for whatever reason, whenever I read about Shield Guardians, because the whole thing is like, they're clearly made for wizards, right? Wizards can put spells in them and wizards can't like have, you know, you control them. So I totally do imagine like little old doddering wizards being carried like a baby in the arms like of these things, like while they're just like running, where they're just like running their wizards, you know, to like safety. They pick them up and like cradle them in their arms and then like just stop around. So I've always had this like little image of like, who are the wizards? Like, who are the people who make these things? So that's what I imagine, and it's hilarious. Probably not like super as intended, but you know, if you're playing it like a, you know, an Iron Giant sort of like, yeah, I carry around my wizard, you know, on my back. Like, that's kind of funny. Would I call it a mount as opposed to like a bodyguard? No, probably not.
No.
No.
Okay.
Are you sharing something? Oh, yes. Yes!
Okay.
Oh,
so
God.
I have shared my screen to share.
Yes,
with
this is how it's a mount.
Yes. None other than the piggyback rider, which I knew these things existed, and I'm glad that I could find them quickly enough to share them. But basically, it's a standing backpack for your child to ride
your back. Yeah.
It's your back behind you. And clearly, this is what the wizard has on the Shield Guardian.
It's either this or, you know, if you've seen those they look like backpacks, but they have like a big bubble on top so you can like walk with your cat like outside.
Oh, yeah.
Like those, like a little pet backpack carrier that is incredible. Yes, if I had a wizard, a tiny little wizard who's willing to ride around like a cat or a child, like in a backpack, I would absolutely allow you to call a Shield Guardian a mount, but that is probably the only situation in which that would apply. But it would be hilarious, and I would allow it.
Wow. The other one is the apparatus of Qualish, which is also interesting because like that's a very high end magic item.
Yeah, it's like a legendary.
Yeah. It's like,
just my mount.
We can just all get in and just go wherever and just make it a barrel after, and then hope we remember where we left it.
Yeah,
no one takes it.
Parked to the
or
the
put
apparatus.
it on my back. Yeah, when we're done, that goes in the
yeah. Okay, so
baby
this
Bjorn.
you get one of these, and then you put it on the back of your Shield Guardian, and then you all ride around, and it carries you in the barrel. It's fantastic.
This is a great idea.
Oh boy. Wow. And we have some other ones here. So we have like just honorable mentions. Pegasus, obviously. Classic. Good pick. We do have Unicorn on here too as well. And I feel like both of those are nice options. We've talked about some evil mounts here. I feel like both Pegasus and Unicorns are good for games if you have like holy, roller characters who are really good, like lawful good. Because I feel like that's the only situation in which a unicorn would allow you to ride them. So I have had like a super uber paladin character in the past that was like a really goody two shoes, and my DM let me ride around on a unicorn, and that like felt really cool and special. So that's great. But yeah, and they are very, especially unicorns have like wildly powerful healing magic for their CR. So just, keep that in mind. Also, technically, not legal as mounts because they have lair actions, and you can't use a mount, legendary actions. Any creature with legendary actions can't be used as a mount. Rules as written. So, keep that in mind. But I mean, we all ignore those rules. So, I mean, I'm just saying, I just have to come here and say, but yeah.
Yeah. I think of like all of the interesting horse categories because like Nightmare opposed to the Unicorn. And then what I find interesting is like you don't see it very often, but it's like, why is there not just one that's like the Nightmare version of a Pegasus and it has like bat wings? I don't know. I don't see it that often, but that's what I think of.
Yeah.
But that's because I played a lot of World of Warcraft.
And there's Invincible. Yeah, man.
But yeah, like figuring out something like that. Your standard Griffin, your Manticores,
your Hippogriffs.
Yeah, there's a lot that are more standard. That's why we decided to lean towards ones that don't get picked quite as often. But we definitely wanted to mention some of your standouts.
The other one on here that I do like, the last one that I really like, is Wyvern. And I'm like, this is good because, well, number one is dragon, which I'm like, that's unacceptable because if a dragon lets you ride it, I don't think that dragon would ever consider this a mount relationship. That is like probably a cool one-time deal, bro. We're not Aragon. We're not, the dragon riders of Pern or whatever the heck. Yeah. In this game, if you have a dragon at your beck and call, oh man, everything's broken. But I think Wyvern is a really great answer to that because Wyverns have some of the cool factor of dragons, but they don't have like the intelligence. They're more of the intelligence of beasts or like typical mounts. So a Wyvern would be a really cool kind of ornery mount that I can see, specialists like. You'd have to really work with this creature though and bond it. It's kind of like, like a wild horse. So I think that would be very cool. So I like seeing Wyvern on this list for sure.
Yeah, dragons. No. Wyvern. Yes.
Yes.
But with that, if you enjoyed this and you want to leave us a rating and review, you can always head over to Apple Podcasts or your podcatcher of choice. And of course, if you want to email us and let us know how you've been using different mounts in your games, you can always do so at dungeonmasterblock@gmail.com. And of course, if you head over to social media, good on you. And you can probably find us at DMS_block. That's at DMs block. Or search Dungeon Masters Block. And for me, you can always find me at JoteManiac.
And for me, you can find me at C. Conowich. And for everything else on the network, just search blockpartypodcastnetwork.com. And as always, a huge thank you over to the bards over on Bombarded for our intro and outro music. You can find out more about Bombarded at bombardedcast.com.
But as always, there's no need to work out alone. Check out this amazing lifting partner.
It's the DM-Nastics gym and you're lifting the thing, but sometimes you need help. It's your lifting partner.
All right. So last week I talked about an email thing, a newsletter I get that brings me a lot of joy. And I have a second one to bring up here. I don't know what it is, but lately I have been looking for, a community, a way to like stay in touch with all of the big news that is going on with RPG stuff and just like all the resources that are coming out and out there. And so one of my favorite people that I like to go to just for all of the content that he covers in general is Sly Flourish. So Mike Shea is his real life name for those who aren't familiar. And he runs Sly Flourish, which is like a fantastic, I mean, he he does weekly like YouTube shows. He's on podcasts. He has a Patreon. Like he sends out a newsletter. So like I subscribe to his newsletter, which I get like a weekly thing from him. And what's really great is just the bounty of stuff that he talks about. So everything from like recommending like, hey, I just like tried out this really cool new Chessex battle map. Or he'll like highlight cool Kickstarters. And obviously he makes a ton of his like own stuff too. So like the Lazy Guide to Dungeon Mastering is like his big, book series that he's famous for. And it is just full of really great advice on like how to low prep, like how to minimize all of the stuff, like when you're so busy, like what is actually important, for preparing your gameplay. And yeah, he just is always like a fountain of like great wisdom, experience. And he's always, talking about other people in the community and lifting people up. So I've also had the pleasure of working with him, like on some projects, working with him as a freelancer. He's just always really great, really professional, and just a treasure trove of knowledge. So I wanted to shout out Mike. Check out his stuff. You can subscribe to his newsletter for absolutely free, or just go check out his Patreon or any of his videos on YouTube. And you'll get a quick sense of like, wow, Mike is definitely one of the treasures right now of, news and wisdom in this community.
Because Celeste and I are the same person, if you went to my inbox, you would also see that same newsletter comes
we actually
to my
just
inbox.
prescribe to all the same things.
You didn't know. You didn't know that until I told you right now. Which that feels forced. That feels fake. It's not. That's why this is super funny to me. After you mentioned it, and I waited to tell you till right now. That's very funny.
Just all my recommendations, Neil's like already there.
Yes.
If you want to be like us.
Great idea, because it's already in my inbox. So can confirm, and we are actively trying to get Mike onto the show, but scheduling is hard because people are busy.
Yeah.
So hopefully we will be able to do so soon, because if there is one thing I enjoy being, it's lazy.
It's lazy.
But with that, we'll turn out the lights and head out of the gym.
Before we go, I want to implore you, the listener, to join the forums, the Discord, and anywhere else you can find us and take part in these challenges, exercises, and other amazing conversations being had.
To do that, head over to bit.ly/DMBanter and try some DM-Nastics. So your players don't ask, do you even lift?